Hey guys, so I'd like to make a quick response to Sean Strickland's great and illuminating take on the tragedy and the sort of reaction surrounding it. Because he said something that's really dope, like the dopamine rush. To paraphrase him, he's basically describing the rush we get from seeing a tragedy of any sort and getting to spew our filthy hot take on it, and how essentially we become desensitized to violence in a country, might I remind you, that we've been taught again and again and again was founded on slavery and oppression and all this other shit, man, and rape and all this other shit. Yeah, and I say the word on YouTube. I don't give a fuck. I'm not, my money ain't drying up, motherfucker. You can say this shit too. You're allowed to voice your opinion, especially as a guy. You gotta understand it. I guess it really doesn't matter what sex you are anyway at the end of the day. There's a lot of scared motherfuckers who are going to look at this event and be like, oh shit, I can't go to even a college campus anymore and pawn post-pubescent, people who haven't even had their brains fully formed yet, and they're still deciding what they want to do in life without getting fucking permanently traumatized, and be like, yeah, I was there, bro, and then have that fucking story be like, for your life, I saw a guy, a well-known public speaker of note, this really, Charlie Kirk, by the way, extremely accomplished gentleman. I'm not going to deny him the fact that he lived a full life. So I don't feel sorry for him for that reason alone, because if you look at the accomplishments, I was watching like one of those gay AI videos, where they like de-age the person. You know what I'm talking about? Forever young. Oops, hope I don't get a copyright strike for that. But AI won't. But you see what I mean, though? It's like, but when you look at that, the reverse aging, you see, like, wow, this guy really just hit all the check marks. And this is why I'm more scared to accomplish shit than I am just talking shit. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. A lot of us really just want to talk shit, but we don't want the honors. Look, when I was in college, right, I dropped out of college. But for a few years to pursue my career as a comedian. But while I was in college, I was given great honors. These dudes were like, I was speaking my mind against this SJW shit. It wasn't recorded. It wasn't for money. It was because it's what I truly believed. I should not be ashamed of being of my race or sex. And my classmates, who for some reason were mostly men, they were like lined up behind me and they started putting pens, like giving me their pens as like a symbol of honor. I'm like, I didn't even know I didn't even know what that meant until I saw it in a movie like way later. And so I've always been given honors for expressing my beliefs, especially when they were unpopular. And so Charlie Kirk was most definitely one of those guys. I think, I can't even really comment on the shit he said, because from his perspective, it was his truth. It was his truth. And I have my own truth that probably goes against a lot of orthodox conservative beliefs. But that shit is irrelevant, bro. Like, do I want to live in a country where this behavior is allowed, where this behavior is like not only the shooting itself, which in itself is an indicator that there's something else beneath the surface. And this is what Sean Strickland was really trying to say, I gather. And he can correct me on this on the record if he wants to. But he's got millions of viewers. He's not starving. He's doing great things. But the real subject of this video is this idea of desensitization and sociopathy. And I just don't buy it, man, because I have a life. I have to decide what my life is going to be. We're all self-centered at the end of the day. We're all on this sort of hero's arc, this hero's journey or villain's journey, whatever, which is just two sides of the same coin, really. Nobody wants to be the vanilla, boring guy forever. There are times when it's necessary to kind of regroup and reflect and evaluate yourself, which is what we do in these videos. We're not simply sharing our filthy sperm hot takes. We're actually like, we're spitting truth. We're expressing our truths about what we've believed and what we've been conditioned to believe about the world, and whether we move forward in those beliefs. Like, for example, the law of gravity. Who's going to argue with that? Who fucking cares about that? That doesn't, we've successfully transcended the necessity of having to combat that idea. This thing, however, though, this violent impulse within us, we haven't yet fully transcended that, at least in the United States. And you could argue that, yeah, it's Israel, like, oh, we're being hijacked. Like, look, that may be true, but what difference does it make? Just have fun with it, bro. And I think this sort of anti-fun take in diagnosing every reaction that we have, it's interesting, but I think long term it isn't fun, because as far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. No, but kind of. I'm only half joking there, because if that's what you're exposed to, it's between that or just like Neo in the Matrix, like getting a fucking cubicle, and typing into a computer all day. It's like, bro, that's just like, that's bullshit. Nobody fucking wants that for their entire existence. That's just like giving up. That's petering out. It sucks, man. And, yeah, so watch how you move, I guess, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed. But at the same time, who gives a shit? You shouldn't worry about tomorrow in the first place, because tomorrow doesn't even really fucking exist. Like that Sinatra. Let's forget about domani, Get that domani. Domani, by the way, is Italian for tomorrow, in case you didn't know that. So yeah, desensitized, maybe. Sociopathic, I think maybe that's too strong of a word, because let's keep in mind, guys, we're living in like the softest era in recorded history. Like, remember, empires were built on bloodshed before. We're not the only one. This is just a cycle of history as we understand it. However, I think it's unfair to say that history is all war. There have always been periods of peace and prosperity as well. And so you get to choose which world do you want to be a part of. Which values are a part of your world. And the power of choice, the power of decision, being pro-choice essentially, because that's what life is. Life is just a series of choices. And I choose to be the master of my own life and not let other people's opinions impact that, to a degree where I'm doubting, and to a degree where I'm like unstable and money isn't coming in or whatever, like, and shit isn't working out the way it's supposed to. It's like, dude, I flip apartments, I flip cars, I flipped pretty much everything that can be flipped on God's green earth. I swear to God, dude, like, it's not, and I don't have to convince anybody that, I'm past that. We've transcended that. If you're watching this video, and I know you have too, you may have to, you're really getting into the thinking mode, like, yeah, I gotta transcend everything, bro, like, there's like levels to this shit. Like, there really isn't, dude. Something either is or is not the truth. So just decide what's true for you. What is true for you? And then everything that plays out, you get to have, if something goes against what you think is supposed to happen, that doesn't mean shit to the person who doesn't have it, because the person who doesn't have it no longer fucking exists. Do you see what I'm getting at? Just say, oh, I'm acting like a bitch right now. I'm acting like the motherfucker who can't have shit, who has limits. So stop acting like a bitch-ass mofo. Start acting like a fucking Chad. Start acting like a fucking, bodybuilder, whatever the fuck. Whatever you want to be. Or like a fucking Einstein, whatever. That's your fucking hero. I don't understand that shit, but I don't care, bro. Be yourself. Like, and just be. Fuck yourself. Fuck yourself. Just be. You know? Okay. I think I've reduced that as far as it can get within my current field of consciousness. So I'm gonna end it on that. Jake Jones, fucking comedy. 2 new channels about to pop up in this bitch when you least expect it. So get ready, motherfuckers. Also, I'll be touring comedy festivals pretty soon. Well, all these personal invites, all this fan mail, I really appreciate it, guys. It's all love. I can't keep up, but I read every single email. I read every single one, bro. I can't promise you a reply, but I read every single one. And also, if you are interested in engaging in the high-speed rail project underway in Chicago, visit the website highspeedrailalliance.com. highspeedrailalliance.com. Type it in.